Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. You've reached the Real Estate Fix. I'm your host, Rick Szerman on KHTS, AM 1220, FM 98.1, your hometown station. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Today's going to be a fun show, super fun show. I love the month of April on the radio station, and I will tell you why. In April, I get to do an anniversary show because I'm doing the show for a couple of years now, and I started in April, which is fun. And it's my birthday, so I always do the second half of the month. I get to do a birthday show, which means I get to be kind of lazy about it, have the guests on, and let the guests do their thing. So today's going to be all business up front, and then we're going to have, and I'm not sure how good an idea this is, but I think it's going to work out. We're going to have two members of my staff. Those of you who work at the office or have gone to my office have met them, but it's Maya and Chelsea are on my staff. They're two lovely people I couldn't run the office without. They're fantastic and smarter than me, which is tough to deal with, but because they're also younger, better looking, and smarter than me. So what we decided to do, rather than me interviewing them, and I'm not sure entirely why I agreed to this, it seemed like a good idea a couple of days ago, was to have them come on, and they're going to ask me whatever they want. I have no idea what they're going to ask, so this could get off the rails very, very quickly. I only said I don't want to know the questions, and I will answer them honestly, and I will do it on the air and no cursing. And other than that, they can do whatever they want. So not sure where this is going to go, but tune in because it's going to be fun. So let's get through the business part of the show, and then we'll have them come on, and they'll loosen it up a bit. So first things first, our good friends at the BBMS Happy Children's Memorial Fund are having their fourth annual Poppies Are Blooming Barbecue fundraiser. Those of you who listen to the show regularly, you know that this is the guys from AC Dave kind of do this. It's great. The BBMS Happy Children Memorial Fund is for people facing domestic violence, survivors in recovery of domestic violence, and the proceeds go directly to them. And there's going to be, let's see, their MC is comedian, actress, producer, children's songwriter, and beautiful spirit Annie McKnight, and with live entertainment by David Priest and friends, David Cox and Mike Vernetti. It's a community event. It's taking place at the Green Valley Market, 16166 Spunky Canyon Road in Green Valley. Tomorrow, April 19th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You guys really should check it out. It's for a good cause. They have raffles. There's a comedian going. They have bands. They have all kinds of stuff. Usually, there's either an organized car show or people to show up in really cool cars and bikes. So it's kind of an impromptu car show. But you should show up. It's super fun, and the money goes to a good cause. So if you can get out there to Green Valley tomorrow between 10 and 2, that address again is 16166 Spunky Canyon Road in Green Valley, and it's all proceeds go to benefit the BBMS Happy Children's Memorial Fund. So if you get a chance, go check that out. It is worthwhile. So let's get into some real estate stuff because that is what I'm here for. That is the housekeeping, as it were, because the real estate market has been just absolutely insane the last couple of weeks. Really, we were kind of getting unpredictable to begin with, but then the Trump tariff things have just completely thrown things completely end over end. It's completely ridiculous. See, here's the thing. Markets, especially the real estate market, but all markets in general, loathe instability. And unfortunately, the current occupant of the White House has given us instability in spades. I don't know what he's doing. I don't get why. As I keep saying, I hope he knows more than I do. I hope he's smarter than I am. I hope the people around him are smarter than I am because I live in this country and I'd like to see it succeed. Most of my friends live in this country and I'd all like to see it succeed. However, when you create a financial crisis that is totally unnecessary and probably not going to gain us a whole heck of a lot, what you do is you throw people's livelihoods and careers into a tumble for, near as I can tell, no reason whatsoever. And the only thing worse than these tariffs is the pausing them for 90 days because now we have no idea what's going to happen. So we'll have to see what happens with it and keep our fingers crossed and our toes crossed and hope this works out because the real estate market is already in a recession. A recession is defined by 2 quarters of down numbers. And the real estate market has been that since the middle of the pandemic, since the interest rates spiked just after the pandemic. So somewhere in there is where it started because the volume recession, as far as the volume of real estate sold, has been ridiculous. We're up by 30 to 40% in Southern California. When I say that, that means that 30 to 40% fewer homes are being sold right now. Now, the market is changing quite a bit. I'm going to give you a couple of headlines so you know what's going on. From Market Watch, this is just yesterday morning, home prices are falling in these cities as high mortgage rates weigh in on buyers. From Business Insider, also yesterday, sellers struggle as buyers balk at affordability and mortgage rates. And this one was from CBS. The housing market has seen a record wave of delistings as buyers step back and sellers take their homes off the market. And last but not least, I think this was from, I think this might have been Market Watch as well. Fox. Home prices and sales are falling home prices and sales are falling as buyers lose confidence, D.R. Horton says. So one of the biggest builders in the country is also talking about problems. So here's what's going on. I'm going to give you guys the statistics. You know, I always bring you the receipts for this kind of stuff, so. Okay, according to Freddie Mac, over the last week, mortgage rates posted the biggest one-year jump in a year. Now, they had also fallen as a result of the stock market crashing. Has to do with the bond market and stuff. If you want to know more of that, you can always talk to me about it. But really what you want to look at as far as what our interest rates are going to do is you always want to look at the 10-year T-bill, the 10-year bond market. Because when the bond market goes up, and the yields go down, that's when the interest rate goes down. Now, if the yields go up because there isn't enough money in the bond market, then interest rates go down. So that's kind of the thing. So in other words, when the stock market gets worried and money leaves the stock market, it goes into the bond market because it's considered safer. You make less money in the bond market, but it's thought of as less volatile. So when money goes into the bond market like that, interest rates tend to go down because with more money in the bond market, the yields tend to go down. So the corresponding interest rate goes down. Not always, but most of the time. And what we've seen recently here is the bond market went down, and went the way we like it. We see how the interest rate goes down a bit, and then a lot of people seem to sell off their bonds. It might have been foreign countries, we don't know who, but that caused the bond yield to go up, and thus the interest rate spiked again. So it is now back up to, it raised 21 basis points in the last week, and is now up to 6.83 on average, according to the good people at Freddie Mac. Now, according to Redfin, the typical house that went under contract in March was on the market for 47 days. That's nationwide, which is the longest period in the last 6 years. For the last 6 years, houses on average have been selling for less than 47 days. Now it's that or more. And I'm telling you, next month, it will be higher. It will be over 50, 60 days nationwide by the end of next month. According to Zillow, 34% of properties on the market have lowered their asking price in March. That is the largest share of homes with a price cut since 2018. So what does this tell you? The interest rate has spiked. It's gone back up again, even higher than it was before the tariff started. Houses are sitting on the market longer, and 34% of properties in March alone have cut their price. That's nationwide. Now, if that didn't tell you where the market's going, you're not listening. Prices are going down. Home prices are softening and they are going down. And that is going to remain true until the interest rates come down. We had a very good shot. The interest rate was going to be down to maybe 6.5. Really lucky, maybe 6 by the end of this year. And now the tariffs have thrown that completely out of whack. We'll be lucky if we get down to 6.5 by the end of the year. If he fires Powell, who I have my issues with, you guys heard me talk about it. I do agree with Trump that Powell is late to the party most of the time. But it's kind of the Fed's job to be non-reactionary. But when you politicize the Fed, which is what Trump is doing, again, last time he did it, it was bad as well. When you politicize the Fed, what you do is you create instability in the American dollar because the Fed has to be an apolitical organization. You have to leave them alone to do their job. The president's only job regarding the Fed is to pick who's going to be on the board and then leave them to do their job. When you politicize it, when you go out in public and you say bad things about it or good things about it, either way, it's mostly bad things, what you do is you damage their credibility, and that damages the U.S. dollar, which damages the economy. I am not an economist. I know this. I'm a little concerned that the White House doesn't seem to, but that's just me, and again, I'm hoping they know a lot more about this than I do. I assume they know more about this than I do. So prices are going down, and I'll give you some of these because the statistics are fascinating. So there are two really segments of price reduction we're seeing. We're seeing regular houses, non-luxury homes in most areas. That means under $1 million, depending where you are in the country. But here are a couple. In Jacksonville, Florida, just in the last month, they've gone down 3.8%. Average median price, $360,000. In San Francisco, they've gone down, this is all houses, luxury houses in San Francisco have taken a much bigger hit. In San Francisco, prices have gone down 2.6%. Average median price now, $1,500,000. Austin, Texas, down 1.6% to $442,000. Dallas, Texas, down 1.4%. Oakland, California, down 1%. Average price now in Oakland, $980,000. West Palm Beach down 0.3%, Tampa, Florida down 1.1%. So these prices are falling, but here, check out the more expensive ones because you can always tell when a market's going to heck when you look at the most expensive part of the market. The bottom of the market and the top of the market are always what feel changes first. And I love this. I shouldn't say I love it. The statistics are fascinating because they tell the story. Most expensive high-end luxury homes are seeing the steepest declines. I said more expensive. 6 of the top 20 zip codes for luxury homes experiencing the steepest declines are in California. Carlsbad, 92009, the median home list price was 1.199, so 1.2. That is a year-over-year decrease in Carlsbad of 25%. In San Jose, the median home list price is now $788. That is a year-over-year decrease of 25%. In Carlsbad, the median home list price is now $2,300,000, year-over-year decrease of 34%. So in April of last year, your house in Carlsbad was worth 34% more than it is now, your luxury home. Foster City, California, median home price is 1.2, year-over-year decrease, 37.4%. Los Gatos, California, 2.9, let's just call it $3 million on average, year-over-year decrease, 38.8%. You notice these numbers are going up. Here's where it gets crazy. San Diego, California, the median home list price, 1.6 million. Year-over-year decrease, 43.9%. So your house in San Diego, your luxury house in San Diego in April of 2024 was worth roughly, well, exactly, 43.9% more than it is now. And the winner, this is not California, but I had to put it on the list, is Atlanta, Georgia. Median home price, $1.3 million, year-over-year decrease, 48%. That's crazy. The median list price for a home sold in the USA in March was $431,000, and that is up 2.5% from a year ago. So the middle of the market hasn't softened as bad as the luxury houses, but luxury houses always go first. And that's what we're seeing here. That is absolutely what's happening. The housing market has seen a record wave of delistings as well. People getting frustrated taking their houses off the market. According to CoreLogic data and the Wall Street Journal, home sellers are increasingly pulling their properties off the market amid weak buyer demand. Again, it's higher interest rates. That's what's doing it. In December, 73,000 homes were delisted, marking a 64% increase in delistings from the previous year and the number of homes pulled from the market. That's the highest level of houses coming off the market in a 30-day period since 2015 because sellers can't sell their houses for what they want. I have news for you. If your neighbor's house, it's exactly the same as your house, sold for $900,000 2 months ago, guess what? You're selling for less than $900,000. You are going to sell less than your neighbors did even 2 to 3 months ago. That's just where you're at. I've been saying this for months. Unless your house is a deal, it's not going to sell. It doesn't have to necessarily be a deal financially. Maybe you're the only one with a view at that price and with a remodeled kitchen or whatever. Maybe it's RV access. I don't know. But you have to have some sort of hook. Your house has to be a deal in order for it to sell. If it is a run-of-the-mill house at a run-of-the-mill price, you are not going to sell the house. You're just not. It's going to sit on the market until you lower the price or until you choose to take it off the market. Home sales hit a 30-year low in 2024, primarily due to high mortgage rates and elevated prices. Now, we'd thought that 2025 was going to be better. We had a pretty strong fourth quarter in 2024, a pretty strong first quarter in 2025. Then the tariff thing happened, and now all bets are off. We are not going to sell as many houses this year. There aren't going to be as many buyers out there. Everyone's sitting on the fence because they don't know what to do. Sellers don't know if they should list or not. Buyers don't know if they should buy or not. Everybody's sitting around waiting for the next shoe to drop. And, the bottom line is a lot of homeowners are pulling their houses off the market rather than sit through this because they're all hoping it'll go their way and prices will go up. I'm here to tell you they won't. Prices are going down. Here's another one. Let's talk about new houses. The headline, home prices and sales are falling as buyers lose confidence. This is according to D.R. Horton, one of the biggest builders in the country. The company now expects, as D.R. Horton, now expects the number of homes closed for the year to decline for the first time in 14 years. This is D.R. Horton. They have not had fewer homes in 14 years. Every year they sell more homes than the year before, despite the pandemic, despite the looming recession, yet this is the first time in 14 years where they are telling us that they're going to sell fewer houses this year than the year before. That is not a good sign. For 2025, D.R. Horton lowered its guidance range for homes sold, putting the company on track to see the first yearly decline in home deliveries since 2011. That don't tell you everything you need to know. Prices are coming down. They're not dropping like they did in 2008. There's no crisis. There's no reason. I'm not the boy who cried wolf. I'm not Chicken Little saying the sky is falling. That is not the case. But prices are softening. If you're going to sell a house, you got to get serious about selling a house, and that means you got to price it accordingly. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to sell the house. That is just the reality. So hopefully you guys take this advice to heart because it is kind of important. It is the way the market's moving. And what this market needs is stability. We need the Fed to lower the interest rate. We need the bond market to do what we need it to do. Panic in the stock market's fine because it lowers interest rates, so that's okay. But the market craves stability. That is what we need. And until we get that, and unless or until the interest rate gets down to maybe 6%, or my little prayer is 5.5%, because that's where we're going to truly meet stability, the real estate market's going to be problematic. The good news for buyers is there are more listings coming to market, and the houses are softening. The housing prices are softening, so that's good for buyers. The problem for buyers is the interest rate keeps going down and spiking up. And I don't think you're going to get a lot of buyers back into the market in any kind of normalcy, in any kind of a wave until we get down to 6.5% or less, which we were at. We were well on our way. And then the tariffs came in, and here we are. So for the next 90 days, 6 of one, half a dozen of another, and pick them as far as how it's going to go. So you got to watch the market carefully, and you got to watch what's going on around you. If you have any questions about this, feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to go over it at length for your individual situation. I'm at 661-714-1400. That is my cell phone. I give out that number on the air all the time, and it is my personal cell. If I don't answer, please text me. I'll call you right back. Again, that's 661-714-1400. And those of you who see this on YouTube after the fact, please, same thing. It's my phone number. You can call me any hour of the day or night. Whatever you get me off social media or wherever. If you have questions, even if you're in another state, whatever, I'm happy to help. I'm not licensed in other states, and I'm not as well equipped to work in other states or to give you advice in other states as I am in California, and I tell everybody that. But I know a lot about this stuff, and I know a lot about the banks you're dealing with, so I can certainly help in the broad strokes. And if you're in California, I'm happy to help you out. We fixed one yesterday. It was no big deal. Took 2 phone calls, and all of a sudden their mortgage was fixed, and they got a loan modification because they'd really done all the work. Somebody just needed to kind of push it over the goal line for them, which I was happy to do. So, yeah, if you have questions, call me about any of this stuff. If you have real estate questions, call me about any of this stuff. And what we're going to do next, we're going to go to break, and after that, I'm going to bring in Maya and Chelsea, and then we're going to have some fun because I have no idea what the girls are going to ask me. I have no clue. This started as it might be a good idea to have them come on because they're in their early 20s. And they're going to be looking at buying houses soon. And I was bemoaning the fact that when I was in my 20s, I was on my second house because I got started early. And a lot of my friends bought their houses in their 20s. And now, first-time buyers tend to be in their 30s. We've lost 10 years. And they're right in the middle of that. So I thought it'd be fun to talk to them about it. Although I did tell them they could ask me whatever they want, rather. And I've not seen the questions, so I'm not entirely sure where this is going to go. But it's live hometown radio, so it should be fun. It'll be exciting, if nothing else. So stay tuned. Please listen to the advertisers, and I'll be with you with Maya and Chelsea when we come back. Hey everybody, thank you for listening to The Break. You've reached The Real Estate Fix. I'm your host, Rick Szerman, on KHTS, AM 1220, FM 98.1. And as it is my birthday show today, we're doing something a little different. Those of you who are listening to the show early on know this. But I brought in 2 of my staff, Stephanie and... Stephanie. It happens all the time. Stephanie worked for me for 2 years, and she recently left to go continue her education. And we've Maya and Chelsea. I apologize. Hi, Stephanie, if you're listening. But Maya and Chelsea... practicing all morning and I still blew it. Maya and Chelsea are here, and the deal we made was, because I wanted to talk to them about what it's like being in their 20s buying a house and talk about that kind of stuff, but it sort of got carried away, and what we decided to do is I told them they can ask me whatever they want, however they want, and I will answer any question they ask, and I'll answer it honestly, and I'll do it on air, live radio. And so I have no idea what these questions are going to be. This may go horrendously badly. If it does, I'll be the only one who suffers from it, so that's okay. I think it'll be pretty entertaining, and if nothing else, it'll be fun and an easy show to do. So we'll do that. So, Chelsea, Maya, have at it.
All right. So thank you, Rich, for having us on. So for those of you listening, as you know, Rich is a seasoned pro, if you will, when it comes to all things real estate.
When she says seasoned pro, she means I'm old, which is true, which is very, very true.
I mean, he's been doing it since he was 19, right?
Yeah, I'm 54 now, so it's been a tick. Yeah, it's been a while.
And he's married to a real estate attorney, so he's kind of the guy to go to if you have any real estate questions. So me and Maya put together a list of questions just to get some information in today's real estate market. So Maya, if you'd like to read us off the first question on a more serious note.
Get the perspective of some 20-somethings. Let's see, what you got?
All right, so our first question is, if someone doesn't have family help or inherited wealth, what chance do they really have in today's housing market?
Well, there are a number of programs out there that can get you into a house. The problem we're having now, as we talked about before, is interest rates, because the interest rate determines your payment. When I bought my first house, interest rates were around 5%, and housing prices were, I think I paid $143,000 for my first house long before you two were born. So it was easier to get started. There are still programs out there, like FHA is a good one, VA is another. With VA, you can do it with no money down. With FHA, it's 3.5%. Now, 3.5% still seems like a lot because the average sales price is about $900,000 in town. So if you're buying a first house, you're probably going to be about $500,000. And 3.5% of that's going to be 15, 16, so about 18,000 plus your closing costs. Now, what you can do with some programs, you can get what's called an overlay, which means, to make a very long story short, you wind up putting down 1%. So if you're looking for a $500,000 house and you can put together $5,000, and you got a decent job, and you can afford to make what would roughly be about a $4,000 a month payment, including interest and taxes and insurance and stuff, you can do it. So you need the ability, this is really the target number, you need the ability to pay about a $4,000 a month mortgage, and you need about $5,000, preferably more, but about $5,000, and you can do it. So it's still hard. I mean, it's harder now for you guys than it was for me. I'm the generation ahead of you, and it was not easy for me. But when I compare my situation to yours, it was incredibly easy. You guys got it much, much harder. I mean, my payment on my first house was, I think, $900 a month. And you're not doing that now. And that included taxes and insurance. You're not doing that now. The average rent in Santa Clarita now is over $4,000 a month for a single family home. The average mortgage payment is over $5,000. Yeah. So it's hard, but it all comes down to economics. That's what it comes down to. I mean, you can fix credit, you can fix other things like that, but ultimately, and the big thing that I see your generation doing a lot is they can't afford a house. They're still living at home, so they wind up buying a car, or they wind up buying a really nice computer. But the point is, they finance these things. And so it makes it that much harder to get into a house. I mean, for example, I know you've got a very nice car, but I think it's paid off though, isn't it? Yeah, you did. You did. Oh, yours is financed. See, that's why you're in trouble, because you financed the car. It is a very nice car. I wouldn't want to live in it, but it's a very nice car. But that's what happens a lot, and I get that. I would have done the exact same thing. I totally get that. I have some buying power, but I don't have enough buying power to buy a house. So why wouldn't I buy a nice car? Right? I get that totally. But that's, I wouldn't say it's a trap, but that's, you got to suffer more than I had to, I suppose, is what I'm saying. You have to put more money away, and you have to kind of not do the other things, buy the nice car. You have to just wait. It's just, you have to be very, very patient, which nobody in their early 20s is terribly patient.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty with a lot of
Yeah,
things.
and that's also part of it. I mean, the good news is, even in the instability that we're suffering now, if you get into the game, which I've talked to you guys about both many times, and buy the first property, that will get you where you want to go. What you've got to do is kind of let go of, like my house, in my case, I bought a house I wanted to live in. I bought my first house, I lived in it, very normal. But again, it's $143,000. You can't do that these days. So the bottom line here is the wages have not kept pace with the inflation on the houses. Housing inflation has been out of control for the last decade. During the pandemic, we saw almost a 30% run up in housing prices, and that's here. Nothing should increase 30% over 4 years. That's crazy. Or 3 years. That's crazy. So those are the tides you're fighting against. The very good news is you can buy a house in another area, maybe a townhouse in Palmdale or something, someplace to get started as a financial vehicle. Because what you really want to do is you want to get yourself in a position where you can put 20% down on the house you want to live in. Because that's the one you keep long term. Yeah. So you do something short term, like a condo or something in an area that's cheaper, where you can rent it out, and your rent will be covered. Palmdale works well for this. Lake Elizabeth works well for this. There are a couple of areas around that work. Sylmar, if you can do it, work well for this. So there are a couple of areas outside of Santa Clarita, if you can't find something in Santa Clarita that'll work for this. But you look at it like a financial vehicle. You buy it, you rent it, and then you sell it at a profit, probably a year or two later, and then you take that profit in addition to the down payment you put in to begin with, because remember, you've rented it, so it's paid for itself, and that's what you use to buy the first house, or the second house in this case, the one you're going to live in. But you kind of have to work your way up that ladder. It can be done. I mean, we get people in who have no money and bad credit, we get them sorted out, we get them into a house. It takes a while, depending on the client, but $5,000, be able to pay $4,000 a month, and we can get you into a house. The rest we can figure out. But it's harder now. It just is.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably a longer answer than you were looking for, but
No,
what else is new with me? Go ahead.
So another question is, what is your take on companies like BlackRock buying up single-family homes?
Oh, boo.
Boo.
Boo,
Serious
BlackRock.
question.
Okay, first of all, BlackRock is largely, the founders of BlackRock, a lot of them came out of Countrywide. They were dirty when they were Countrywide, they're dirty at BlackRock. What BlackRock did, you got to love this, the sheer audacity of this. You cause a mortgage meltdown with bad loans, you destroy the real estate economy, send it into free fall, 2008, 9, and 10. Then you start a company that buys houses super cheap that you destroyed to begin with. You destroy the economy of houses, then you create a company that buys them cheap because the economy's been destroyed. That's like supervillain type territory. That's the sort of thing you see in
They've
Batman cartoons.
got an evil name,
sounds
too.
like
Yeah, well, why else
Scary.
would you name yourself BlackRock? I guess FU was taken. Anyway, so they that's their business model, and so they buy a ton up. And again, they're part of the problem with the run up, especially in first time type houses, because they're killing first time buyers. Because if you can't compete, you guys as like an FHA buyer can't really compete with a BlackRock who's paying cash.
Yeah.
The only good news is they're going to pay a lot less for the house. So they tend to get them straight from foreclosure and straight from other places. So they don't tend to come to market a lot of stuff that they buy. Yeah. Not a fan, I suppose is the simple way to put that. But they are definitely gumming up the market, and it is a problem. They're not alone. They're just one of the biggest defenders, the most obvious. But there are a lot of companies out there, big and small, that are doing this. California has a bad rental perspective. The idea in California, much like in places like Manhattan, of being a permanent renter is becoming more and more standard. And we gotta stop that. Yeah. Every year since I was born, so my birthday should, good time to bring this up, 1971 was the last time in California's history where the percentage of owners was higher than the percentage of renters. So for the last 54 years, the amount of renters, the percentage of renters versus owners in this state has gone up. We are rapidly becoming a rental society here, and that is very, very bad. Yeah. That is bad for long-term prospects. That's bad for individual economies. It's certainly bad for the state's economy, and it's dangerous as all get out. Because what happens is you build to a point that it's no longer sustainable, and it collapses in on itself. Were it not for New Jersey, Manhattan would have collapsed in on itself a long time ago. If it was geographically larger like Los Angeles, it would have collapsed a long time ago. You have to meet supply and demand, and regardless of your supply, you have to have the demand. And if you price people out of the market, which is what companies like BlackRock tend to do, you no longer have that demand anymore. You wipe it out, and that causes prices to crater. Now, they haven't created the market themselves. They're not big enough to do that. But I think your point is that there are more corporate buyers going into the rental space and taking away a lot of the market share of the type of first-time houses that you could have bought. The first 3-bedroom, 2-bath starter home, in Saugus or Canyon Country, Valencia, that you could have picked up a couple of years ago is now much more difficult to get because of companies like BlackRock. And again, they're not alone. There are a lot of them out there. So, not a fan, but yeah, that's who they are.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're going to talk about some other monsters now, okay?
Okay, what do you got?
Okay.
Is this the Godzilla portion?
No, unfortunately,
Oh,
sir.
I could do an hour on Godzilla,
didn't
easy.
Tie that into this theme. But Rich, okay, we're gonna give you this scenario. And you have to actually put your heart and soul into this right now, okay?
Okay, I'll stretch.
Okay, so let's say you believe in haunted houses. You believe them.
In this universe, ghosts are
And
absolutely real.
You
Okay.
know this house is 100% haunted.
Okay.
Okay.
The Amityville house. Go ahead.
And you have to, and it's like the perfect house, like literally down to the color palette, to the grouts in the tile.
Well, except
It's
for the bleeding
perfect
walls and the twins who come
for
out of the
your
elevator.
clients.
They're a perfect house.
No, Rich. No.
I think we need
no.
to define how you think is a
It's
perfect house. But go ahead.
beautiful home.
Okay.
It's a beautiful,
Beautiful home.
perfect
Got it.
home for your clients
Except-
that are
except for
looking
the
for
ghost.
this home.
Okay.
Single family house.
Okay.
But there are ghosts in it. How would you pitch it to this family that are scared of ghosts?
Well, are we talking Casper type ghost or are we talking the Shining type ghost?
Probably Casper that can get a little violent sometimes.
Well, there's a comment on your
Sometimes.
there's a comment
I'm
from your
just
generation.
saying.
I don't know, Generation closer in age. Have you ever considered Casper as a switchblade wielding terrorist or something? No.
He's just a dummy sometimes. He'll drop a knife and he didn't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's yeah.
I think she means in the middle balance. Of,
when we
it's
saw Casper,
but he has
was,
anger
it was just
issues.
Casper the Friendly Ghost. When it became a movie, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he became a kid who died of cholera.
Okay.
So thanks for filling that in for us.
No, Ghostbuster ghost.
Okay, Ghostbuster ghost. All right,
Ghostbuster
so
ghost.
mischievous and trouble. Okay, what would I would just be honest about it. There is going to be a segment of the population who likes that sort of thing.
But this family doesn't.
Then they're not buying the house.
No.
What do you mean? How am I going to talk them into it?
Yes. How would you talk them into it?
What? How do you? I'm not going to lie to them.
No, that's fine.
I'm going to suggest they start a television show at their house. I have somebody I can introduce them to who loves ghost stuff and does stuff on television. Ghost Hunters is one of his shows. He would love to talk to them if they have actual ghosts there. Because if they have actual ghosts, we're talking real ghosts, we can confirm this, right?
Yes, 100%.
Then I'll buy the house. We're going to make $1 million. You got to be kidding me. Actual ghosts, we can prove ghosts. I'm buying this house for sure. We're starting tours tomorrow.
So
And
you're
film
gonna
crew comes after
you're gonna
that.
take this house away
Absolutely.
from the
If you
mom
have-
and dad and their 3 beautiful little children.
I'll go find
That's
them
the
another
perfect
house. They don't want to live here anyway. You said they don't like ghosts.
I
I'm
mean-
ambivalent about it, but if I can make a few bucks off the ghost, because we're talking provable phenomenon, right?
Yeah, but they can be convinced.
So you want me to convince them?
Yeah, convince them that they could be like roommates or something.
Okay, well, I don't know if these are friendly ghosts or not. I don't know their names. I suppose I'd learn that first. I hope they're human ghosts. I don't know. I don't know. I would sell them on the fact that if this is provable phenomenon, you don't even have to live here. Just buy the freaking house and charge admission. You'll make $1 million.
Yeah, there's an investment.
Yeah, that's how I would
Ghost
do it.
house.
Or hell, just buy the thing and advertise it as we can prove there's a haunted house here. People will line up to buy it. I was telling you guys a story about the Amityville house. The Amityville house, the house from the Amityville Horror, was on the market a couple of years ago. And the same friend of mine, who's a producer-director, hi Jay, producer-director and everything else, works, Ghost Hunters is one of the shows he works on. And he sometimes produces it. Anyway, he was trying to put together a group to buy the house. And he got me involved, and it was great fun. The deal didn't go through somebody else, some Japanese company outbid us, but it was great fun because everyone involved was like, well, the house is haunted. Yeah, it was pretty clear that the Amityville house is haunted. There have been a couple of movies on that, and you advertise it that way. It is a famous film house that is famously haunted, and that's why the house sold for what it sold for. It sold for about 4 or 5 times what it should actually be worth as a house because it was haunted. In other words, what I would do is I would use the fact that it's haunted as that would ordinarily be a detriment, I would think, to most people, and I would just lean into that hard. This, every so often, especially on Halloween, the living room walls do bleed, so you got to be ready for that. When it rains out, you're looking kind of weird, zombies and stuff walking around. But other than that, I would just tell them, this is what it is, this is how it is, and use it. I would use it as a because it is. I don't want to lie to somebody about it, and you certainly don't want to. If the house is actually haunted, you don't want that to be a surprise. And I think you'd have to. I don't know if you have to disclose. I think you would have to disclose it. I'm not sure. I think you should.
If there was a murder in the house, you'd have to disclose
yeah, but only
it,
if it's within 3 years.
ghosts,
If it's 3 years in a day, you don't have to say anything, which is silly.
3 years in a day.
3 years in a day. And if this kills me.
Really?
Well, yeah, that's the rule. And I do
limitations.
love California, but the bureaucracy in the state. I'll give you a perfect example. As you guys have heard me say many times, I find government intrusion into real estate, while necessary, is often good ideas implemented badly.
Yeah.
For example, it is a good idea to try to remove the stigma of AIDS or somebody dying of AIDS in a house in the 1980s and 90s. It was a good idea. However, the way it is implemented to this day is if somebody dies in the house within 3 years, you have to say someone died in this house, and you have to give at least a rough, what they died of. It can be old age, it can be something simple, heart attack, whatever. But you have to tell people. Yeah. Unless they died of AIDS. If they died of AIDS, you are specifically prohibited from telling people what they died from. And it is the only thing that you are specifically prohibited from telling people how they died. And if it's anything else, you have to disclose it. So if somebody says, well, somebody died in the house, how'd they die? Well, I can't tell you. I think they're going to figure out what it is. So the government's attempt to destigmatize this has actually made the stigma worse. And that's what California does constantly. Good idea, badly implemented. But the haunted house, I just tell people it's haunted.
Besides pointing out ghosts and disclosing stuff, mass murders and such, what are some red flags that you would point out to buyers when looking at a home?
Mechanical systems. Because any home you buy, you got to get inspected and check out. But the first thing I would look at, because people, when they get their houses on the market, you're seeing the best version of that house, usually. Which makes you wonder what it looked like before it was on the market with some of these houses. But they're not going to clean up stuff like the furnace in the cabinet in the hallway. They're not going to clean up stuff like the garage door opener in the garage. There's a lot of mechanical stuff you can look at because they'll clean the inside of the oven usually in the burner. They'll clean up the stuff that you can see. Yeah. But there are portions of the house that they don't see. So for example, look at the filter in the air conditioner. Has it been changed? If so, or if it's not terribly dirty, you're probably in pretty good shape. If it's been there for the last 15 years, you're going to have a problem with that HVAC system. You'll get it inspected and check anyway. But those are the red flags. Maintenance red flags that are covered up is what I would look for first.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Thanks.
Yeah.
So.
What else?
What is your personal dream home with no budget limit? What is your
my gosh. Okay, when I was in the 4th grade, I spent some time during a math test that I got through early drawing a house that I still have. Looks a little like the Batcave, and it's only 2-dimensional. Kind of looks like a Nintendo screen. But yeah, because it has a helipad, and does it come with a Batmobile? Because you can have it come with stuff. It's my dream home.
Yeah,
it would have to have a very large underground, a la Iron Man kind of underground sort of garage that's well lit. Because with the house, I'd have to have 40 or 50 cars to go with if we're talking about that. Now it would look like a miniature golf course that you live in. I should not be allowed to design that kind of horse.
There'd be grass on the floor inside.
Probably, certainly a windmill. I don't even know why. I just like windmills.
I love that.
I have no idea. There'd be a lot of water features, things like that. My house now has a lot of water stuff all over the place. So I don't know, there'd be a fountain. I saw a house, there was a house we toured years ago in Sand Canyon where I think the guy owned a pool company or something. He had designed the master bathroom where there was a waterfall that was kind of a shower that fell into the bathtub, which was a spa, and then emptied out of that onto a pool and kind of went on a little river trail out of the bathroom and then recycled.
That's crazy.
That was super
awesome.
Cool. I thought that was completely ridiculous. I spent thousands of dollars. I think he was doing it kind of just to prove he could. It was the coolest thing ever. I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what I would do. Because you're never going to have a situation without price constraints.
So it sounds like the Batcave with a windmill.
Yeah,
and
with a windmill and a waterfall and a view. I'm a sucker for any huge garage.
Yeah, why use a solar panel when you could have a windmill?
Exactly, and that's also without asking what my wife would like, because I don't know, I have no idea what she'd be. So Janie, if you're listening, we can talk about this later. Well, her first response is, you're never going to do something with no price constraints. What's wrong with you? Because, Jane is smarter than I am, as you guys know. So yeah, I don't know. Probably have I don't know, there'd be some sort of wild animal pen too, I'm sure. Why not? I've always fond of Jabba's palace from Star Wars. Oh God, I said Star Trek. You have to kill for that. From Star Wars. So maybe something along those lines. That might be fun. But then I guess that makes me Jabba. I'd have to think that through. I'd have to think that through more. I just like some of the effects.
You can always circle back.
I do often have problems with machines. Vacuum cleaners and things especially. So having a place to torture them would be good for me. I'd enjoy that.
Torture vacuum cleaners?
Yeah.
Just a little tiny cell in the basement.
Instead of Dream Home, we're getting to deepest, darkest parts of Rich's mind.
Well, in Jabba's palace, he has an area where he tortures droids, which always struck me as very funny.
And who wouldn't want to live in that
You
situation?
just turn them off. Well, I just, if it's my dream house, you do what you want in your dream house. In my dream house, we're having a place to torture vacuums and toasters.
You're right. This is a dream house judgment for you.
That's right. That's exactly right. You can feel free to judge me. That's fine. What else you got?
All right. So what is your only in real estate this would happen moment that still makes you laugh today?
What this still makes me laugh?
Like, only in real estate this would happen. One of those moments.
Oh my God. The funniest one ever is we had a client, I've been telling this story forever. We had a client recently who we deal with people, foreclosure defense especially, and people who are having real estate problems, which is the lion's share of our clientele, the pro bono people, which whom we love. And they're under stress and they're freaking out. You guys know it. You deal with them more than I do. You deal with the front lines of this stuff all the time. And you're not getting people at their best when they're in foreclosure and they've lost their job or they're having health issues or their loved ones having health. I mean, they're going through a lot of stuff. So we try to give them a lot of latitude because they're under a lot of stress. But I had a client recently who I will not name, who is, oh my God, one of the worst clients I've just ever had. She's just a very, very profoundly unhappy person. Even when you give her good news, she's profoundly unhappy and determined to share that with everyone else. So occasionally, it doesn't happen often, but occasionally I have to remind clients that, hey, stop yelling at me. I'm on your side. I'm trying to help you. And I'm doing it for free. So stop yelling at me, will you? Just take it down a notch. I'm on your team. And I don't have to do that often. But once a year I have to do that to somebody, kind of talk them off the ledge. And I did that with this gal, and you guys know what I'm going to say. And I said, could you just do me a favor? Could you calm down? I'm on your team. Could you just, be a little nicer to me, could you? And she, without missing a beat, said, no, I don't want to be nicer to you. I don't like you. Oh, well, okay. I like you just fine. And she said, well, that's up to you.
We do remember.
Okay, I could dislike you if that makes you happier. I don't know, but okay. So yeah, that's an Elaine real estate story. I don't think in any place in life you could say, could you please be nicer to me? And have somebody go, no.
Gotta respect a woman for her
just don't want to.
feelings. I mean,
Just don't want to. Just, don't feel like it. Okay.
She's gonna buckle
all right,
down.
well.
I mean, at least she's honest.
I don't know that I say that, but okay. At least it defines the bounds of our relationship. I understand. Thank you. And the house, we got it done. We got it sorted out. Got the house sold. She got the money out of it. She was going to lose, so it worked out okay. But even then, the day she got a very, very large, she was going to get nothing, and she wound up getting a little over $100,000 out of this house. The day the check came, she was still complaining about it. She didn't like that the check was drafted by an escrow company. I don't know why. You can cash it. They offer to wire it to your account. I don't know why. Anyway, I tell you, we're going to go to break here shortly. So let's leave from some more advertisers and hang out through because we're going to do more of these questions as we get through when we come back from the break. We're going to do the rest of the show with this. So it is my birthday, so please do me a favor and come back after the break, and we'll see what other questions the girls have for me because this will be fun. And we'll talk some cookies when we get back to hold over from last show. You're listening to The Fix with Rich on KHTS AM 1220 FM 98.1, your hometown station. Thank you guys for listening on all things real estate and possibly some cookie talk and maybe even Godzilla. Who knows? When you guys come back, listen to the break. Thanks. Hey everybody, welcome back. You're listening to The Fix with Rich. I'm your host, Rick Szerman. That's why we call it The Fix with Rich. On KHTS, AM 1220, FM 98.1. And we're here with my staff, with Maya and Chelsea, and we're talking about, they're asking me questions because it's my birthday, and I said they could ask me whatever they wanted on the air. And it's been fun so far, so those of you who are listening. But let's get to some more questions. We're not wasting more time with me. What do you got?
Okay, well, this one's more of a serious one again.
Ooh, serious question. Okay.
But our question is, if the housing market were to crash tomorrow, what would you do first?
Start buying houses. Immediately.
Yeah.
Those of us who kind of saw what was going on in 2008, 9, and 10, well, here's the thing. The real estate market in California, whatever it does, it will always rebound. It may take a year, it may take it may take a decade, but it will always rebound.
Yeah.
People want to live here. That has been true since the 30s. People want to live here. It's good. It's
Gorgeous place.
The weather is good. The schools are good. The infrastructure is pretty good. I have my issues with the city, with the state, with various things, but I'd still rather be here than any place else. I think other than people who live in Hawaii would probably tell you that's like our biggest competitor. For most people. So it'll always rebound. People always want to live here. So when real estate takes a dip, buy a house, buy 2, buy 3 if you can get away with it. Because even if you have to hold them, like I bought a couple of houses in 2009, and I lost money on them all the way through 2010. By 2011, they started to get better, and by 2014, I sold them at an outrageous profit. If I was smarter, I would have kept them another couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, buy houses. That's the answer. Because ultimately, is it a commodity that will never devalue? It's not like you're buying a horseshoe company after the creation of the automobile. Because there'll still be horses, but your business is going to hurt.
Yeah.
People always want housing in California. They just do. Whether it's to buy and turn into rentals as investments, whether to live in, whatever. People want to live here. That's the bottom line. So you will always do well with California real estate. Always.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of Rich's life goals came true recently.
Oh.
DW cookies.
Oh, my cookies. Yeah, I have them here today. Do you want to introduce it? Go ahead.
Yeah, Maya, go ahead. You had
Literally
one.
so delicious. Okay, so let me explain what it's like to bite into one of these DW cookies. They're called the Rich, right?
Yeah, I got Devar to name a cookie after me. This is my greatest honor.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many honors in my career. I've had a big career. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a long career. And I've had animals named after me, which I'm very proud of. I think that's great. But the cookie thing is my favorite. So on the menu at DW Cookies, for those of you who don't know, DW Cookies, friend of the show, sponsors of the wonderful, great, best cookies in Santa Clarita. We have some very good cookies in Santa Clarita. I don't want to disparage any others. Love in my heart for all the cookie companies. But Devar and DW, that's my favorite.
Literally so
we've done taste tests. Devar is absolutely my favorite. And I love Devar and his wife and family. They're great people, and they make a fabulous cookie. He was on last show, and I was teasing him. Well, I was kind of basically blackmailing him on the air. Anyway, to get a cookie named after me, because this is clearly an accomplishment I'm desperate for. And so Devar said years ago that it had to have some coconut in it. I don't know why. But he said he was going to name something after me that had some coconut.
Just a little nutty. Something about you.
Yeah, I would have gone with nutty, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I like coconut. Why not? So what he did is he created a chocolate chip cookie, which is my favorite, kind of his blonde chocolate chip, with coconut. So I have not actually had one yet. So you might have had one, but I'm going to have one now. Let's see.
It's literally so delicious.
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
It has like a nice, like crispy little like outside shell, and it's just so
Coconut's
soft.
really light. Yeah, it's super soft. Oh my
Soft,
God.
it's like toasted coconut. It's literally so yummy.
Well,
Is it
thank
life-changing, Rich?
It is. My life
We're
is
getting
changing
some
as we
ASMR
speak.
moments
Well,
right now into the mic.
It's
I'm sure you enjoy
kind of
it.
narcissistic, I suppose, but this is now my favorite cookie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Well, yeah, Oreo can bite me because this one's named after me. So, thank you, Devar DW Cookies. So those of you who are curious who want chocolate chip with coconut on it, go to DW Cookies on Solid Ed there, and ask the nice people at the counter. Ask for the Rich, and he will laugh his head off at you if somebody asks that. So please do that. I actually have a phone. Videotape it and send it to me because I'd love to see that clip. But yeah, it's called the Rich, and it's at DW Cookie now, and it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What else you got? Ask me another question. We have 2 minutes left. Ask me another question.
All right. Since it is your birthday episode, tell us all about why you love Godzilla. He's been waiting for this
Could I do that in 2 minutes? Okay, really quickly. When I was younger, my mother was a teacher for LA City Schools. She was a single mom, had no money. So I'm the oldest of my family. So what my mom would do is she would buy things on layaway. It's a couple generations removed from you guys, but layaway is what you used to do with these things. So my mom decided when I was a kid, I was little before Star Wars came out. Star Wars came out in 1977. That changed everything for me. But before Star Wars, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, you'd get the Godzilla movies on on Channel 5 and Channel 13 in Los Angeles. And they'd start at like 6 in the morning. So I'd wake up super early and watch Godzilla, and I'd wake my mom up and make her watch with me because I could not understand this Godzilla's on. How could you not be watching this? This is the greatest thing ever. Kind of rubber suit planes and things exploding. It's fabulous. I was not long on plot in those days. So that is what started it. And then what really got carried away is my mother would buy me, because she planned this a year ahead, every birthday, every Christmas, there'd be Godzilla toys. This went up until I was 18. I finally had to say at 18, knock it off. I've had enough. No, I got a garage full of Godzilla toys. I've had it. Get boxes full of Japanese plastic. She said, fine. And right after that, my boss heard me at the time. I was at Realty Executives. My boss, Jim Tanner at the time, heard me arguing with a bank. I shut down his entire office because it was making so much noise. And he said, so that was you negotiating, huh? And I went, yeah. And I was all proud of myself because I got what I needed from my client by yelling at the bank. And he said, yeah, you sort of negotiate the way Godzilla negotiates with Tokyo, huh? And I thought that was the greatest compliment I'd ever received because I completely missed his point. And that still applies. I still negotiate like Godzilla. I still negotiate like Godzilla.
We can
Tokyo.
attest to that.
I just find most of the gamesmanship stupid. So I just, this is the way it is. These are the cards we're holding. Let's go. So I find it much better. So yeah, I have a reputation for negotiating the way Godzilla negotiates with Tokyo. That's just the way it is. I stomp on the Terra. So any other questions? Is that the last one? Is Godzilla? We're going to wrap up with
That's
Godzilla.
the wrap up.
Guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming in. And go check out the cookie. The cookie is awesome. Thank you guys for asking me questions. That's super fun. I've appreciated that. That was very fun. I appreciate it. So hopefully those of you listening, if you have any questions, give me a call. You can always reach me at 661-714-1400.